Hey, yo, what's up, guys, and welcome to a live session of probably one of my new favorite shows, the Forever Student podcast, hosted by Stefan Miller. But the specific session, I'm going to host it, and Stefan Miller is our guest. What's up, Stefan? Welcome.
This is so exciting. It's so weird to be on the other side.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you because we have been working on this for quite some time, and we're finally here. And I think it's incredible to finally get to announce on International Podcast Day that Forever Student is officially live. We've finally released our first episode with Tom On. It has been in the works for quite some time, and man, congratulations on the show.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all the support. I think it's been a long... How long has it been since we've been planning it?
Few months. I think about 2-3 months. We're just in the planning phase, and then
Yeah.
we're recording.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, it's been a tremendous journey, and I think, and I hope that the show is going to have a lot of impact on a lot of people, and I think that's what it's kind of built for.
I think it will. So to kick it off, I think for everybody in the live audience and for those watching at home, who are you? What's your story? How did we start? How did we even get here? So bit of background about yourself.
Okay. Let's take it back. So I'm half Indian, half Dutch. Let's start there. Dubai boy, essentially. Grew up in Amsterdam, New York, but been here for the majority of my life.
All right.
And
Who's Dutch and who's Indian?
my mom's Indian.
Okay.
My dad's Dutch.
Random piece of information. Felt it was worth it.
No, I know, why not? Hence the height as well.
How tall are you?
6'7".
I was just trying to make sure I look taller than him on camera. Just FYI.
We can make that happen. And yeah, I think I've been on this journey of trying to have impact, trying to really become as self-aware as possible. And that's been happening over the last few years, and this is sort of a product of that.
How did this journey of self-awareness start? Where were you when this came about? Were you at a funk in your life, or were you chasing something? Like, what happened that kicked off this thinking, if you will?
Yeah, I think whenever someone comes to a realization like that, it's usually from a hard place or a difficult place, and that's exactly what happened with me. I think about a year and a half ago, about a year and a half ago, I was in a place where I was, I had a full-time job, was working on a startup, was doing my executive MBA, 18-hour days, 6-7 days a week. Like, it was absolutely crazy. I'm just that kind of guy. Like, I take on way more than I can actually handle. I still kind of do that, and I'm trying to do it.
You still do.
I still do. And it came to a point where I remember this so well. I was studying for a finance exam, and after like 3 pages, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And the one thing I always do whenever I get to that place, I would go on YouTube, listen to Gary Vee for like 10 minutes, telling him to like get back to work, do this, do that, hustle, all that. This time I stumbled across a completely different video, and the message behind that video was, why do we do what we do? And kind of to go deeper into that, like asking yourself all those questions.
And it's such an important question. At that time, did you have an answer when you stumbled upon it? Or
No, not
how
at
did
all.
you feel when you came up?
Not at all.
Came around this
So
video?
questions were like, why do we do what we do? Why do we wear what we wear? Why do we drive what we drive? Live where we live, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you know, on the surface, they're pretty basic questions, but then when you start going deeper into them, you're just like, oh my God, like I actually really need to think about this. And so for me, the first question was like the MBA, like the executive MBA, why am I doing it? And kind of the top 3 were status, safety, and then, you know, making your parents proud. My mom's Indian at the end of the day. Education is super important.
Yeah.
But, you know, and you're doing it for someone else. You're not necessarily doing it for yourself. And I started asking myself all these questions, and I was like, am I on someone else's path, or am I on my own path? Am I doing what society wants me to do, what my parents want me to do, what my friends or my boss or whatever wants me to do? And how do I now align myself with, you know, staying true to myself, becoming completely self-aware? The next morning, I quit my MBA. Like the next morning,
So instead of going in for your exam,
yeah,
you
basically,
quit.
I didn't go in for my exam. I emailed them. I was like, I'm sure you get this a lot, but I watched your Jay Shetty video, and I've decided to no longer take part in the MBA.
That is such an incredible leap overnight to come to such a decision.
100%. And and it started kind of snowballing from there onwards. So after doing that, I think a few months down the line, I think it was June last year, I stumbled upon a Buddhist monastery in Nepal, where I decided to do an Intro to Buddhism course, and it was essentially 10 days of silence mixed with learning about Buddhism. And it was a shock. Like, it was 6 hours of meditation a day. It was 6 hours of teaching. You couldn't speak.
Have you had any intro to it before that? Any intro to meditation or
Barely. Like,
because I mean, I try to meditate, and then 5 minutes in, I'm done. Like I'm out. But you're doing
why?
6 hours.
Why?
Why? Why?
5 minutes?
Oh, because I just set my app to 5 minutes.
Oh,
on
oh,
Headspace.
you do it on your app. Okay, gotcha.
So you're saying you're doing 6 hours of daily meditation?
Yeah, I had done it before. Like,
Okay.
I wasn't as regular, and I've definitely never done like a 6 hour sort of meditation in one day. It was pretty like brutal in the beginning because you're just sitting in the same, you're sitting in the same posture. You're in a lot of pain. You're trying to focus your mind, and your mind wanders and all these kind of things. And at the end of the day, what it forces you to do is you have to deal with your thoughts head on. When you're sitting there in silence and you've got nothing, you can't say anything, you don't have a phone, you don't have a laptop, there's no way to distract yourself. So all you can really do is face your thoughts. And it takes you to pretty dark places, right? It takes you to things in your past that you suppressed, or it takes you to, what am I doing with my life? Or then you start thinking about the future and you start questioning everything. And this is kind of where answers started coming to me in terms of at least what kind of life I should be leading.
Okay. Question, because I know you're an athlete, you're a long distance runner. How is that different to when you're running? Because a lot of people say,
good
when you're running
question.
long distance, that's meditative.
That's
You're in a
actually a
state
good
of
question.
flow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, 100%. It's
Yeah.
it's for me, running is a meditation at the same time. Completely different kind, but nonetheless, it's somewhere where I completely clear my head, and it becomes sort of an addicting feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've realized this. You started
I-
running
yeah.
recently. Yeah.
And that's why I think, because I'm coming from that running background, I couldn't run, and then I got to a point where you and I did a 10K.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was your first 10K.
That was my first
Super
ever.
proud of you, man.
Yeah. So how is that meditative state different from the meditative state you were in at the temples?
I think from a thinking standpoint, I think when you quiet your mind in an actual meditation, there's zero distractions, right? Like, you really have the time to reflect, introspect, rather than when you're running, you clear your head, but it's more of a release rather than looking for answers.
I see. So it's
Yeah.
more like releasing whatever stress or anxiety you might
Yeah,
be having,
exactly.
as opposed to being a reflecting
Yeah.
when you're at the temple.
Whenever
Okay.
I'm stressed, I run.
Okay,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. And so you were there for 8 days?
10.
10 days
Yeah.
of 6 hour silent meditations every day.
Yeah, so 6 hours of silent meditation, 6 hours of teachings, basically Buddhist principles that you can incorporate in your daily life. Like, it wasn't very religious per se. It was very open, and it was very much about just being a good person, how to be a good person, and what can you do on a daily basis in order to do that. And it was all taught by Tibetan Buddhist
Love it.
monks, which was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
these are people that are, we always look up to athletes and we look up to business people, but these guys, like, they just, in my eyes, have it all figured out.
And how did that change your life once you got back?
I think one, I listened a lot more because when you're quiet, that's what happens. But secondly, I think that I became so self-aware. Like, you start prioritizing things very different in life. Like, you start understanding what's really important and what isn't. So, spending more time with family, spending more time by myself, not stressing about work or about what other people might think, and then taking it back to this. That's exactly why this has come to life in
Great.
the first
So
place.
I like how you connected the dots there. So what is this? What is
Yeah.
Forever Student?
So the Forever Student is a show that's, from my side, it's about serving. I think we all face a lot of struggle, and I think one thing we have in common is that we all want to be happy. So this essentially provides you with the tools, but more importantly, the steps in order to get past what you're going through, maybe enhance or improve things that you want to improve in your daily life. And it's really tackling those things that we face daily. So these are, whether it's diet or exercise, or it's mental well-being, or it's sleep, or whatever it may be, and then bringing on people that can really shine a light on that.
I like that. And there are a lot of shows like this around the world, and I'm sure a lot of people have, come across different shows. Similarly, how is yours different? What makes yours stand out?
I think a couple of things. I think the main thing is that we provide steps, right? Like when we put out this show, we were like, okay, a lot of shows in general, a lot of podcasts in general, like there's a lot of information, but there's no real, okay, what do I do with it? So what we do is, at the end of every episode, we provide anywhere from 3 to 5 things that you can do today.
So they're actionable steps that you can start right away.
Actionable steps that you can start today. So that's one big difference. And I think the other one is from my side, I'm the student in the episode, right? So I by no means pretend to be an expert in anything really, but the people that I bring on are. And so I'm speaking on behalf of the listener. I'm not speaking on behalf of myself. And so I try to steer the conversation in a way where we get as much value as possible.
So can you give us an example of some of those experts that you've had so far?
Okay, so the first episode came out a couple of days ago, and his name is Tom Otten. So that episode is very much about setting goals, about commitment. He's a guy, he's an endurance runner himself, an endurance athlete. He's also a business owner. He's also a cancer survivor. So he's got, he's got tremendous stories and experiences and lessons that I think are really valuable to the listener. I mean, in future episodes, we go into everything. Like we go into mindfulness, we go into hypnotherapy, we go into so many different topics. And I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to do it sort of like the first season is very much about mental well-being, and then we move on to a different season that might be about something slightly different, but still staying true to what the Forever Student is about.
Yeah, I love that, and I think what's amazing about this journey is that you're constantly just inquisitive, and you're on this path to learn and discover new things, and you're always asking the right questions. And what's your future plan with it? Where would you like for the show to go?
So to the point that you just made, like one of the things that's been incredible for myself is that I'm having 52 amazing conversations a year. You know what I mean? Like if you interview someone every week, it's not a conversation that you would just generally have with your friends or whatever. Like the amount of things that I'm learning myself are incredible. But in terms of where we want to take the show, I think, we would love to scale this as much as possible to try and touch the lives and hearts of as many people as possible. I think there's so many people out here, whether it's in my direct circle or whether it's in Dubai or whether it's around the world that suffer from so many things, whether it's anxiety, depression, whatever it may be. And I think what we try to do is we try to say it's okay, firstly, and secondly, we've got certain tools that we can give you that might help you get out of that.
I think that's the important keyword here is tools, right?
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
So at Forever Student Show on all platforms, and you can find the Forever Student on all platforms, on the podcast app, on Spotify, on Anghami. It's everywhere at this point.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, man.
No, thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Stefan.
it.
Thank you guys for being with us as part of this. And thank you guys watching us. So please do check it out. Support it. The show's officially live. It's Forever Student on all your favorite podcatchers. And you can connect with Stefan across social media at Forever Student Show or at Stefan Runs DXB.
That too. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks,
all right,
guys.
thanks guys for joining us, and stay tuned for our next session.